game. Really a whole lot, probably a little bit more maybe than in some other years.
Well, for Fort Hill it is, Chuck, because number one, in order for Fort Hill to advance in the playoffs, they must win this football game. Allegany is in the playoffs, regardless of what happens out here today. But if Allegany wins the ball game today, they have the home field advantage for 2 consecutive weeks prior to going to state college. So there is a lot at stake for both ball clubs. And, you know, we have to look at the field conditions, and it's been raining all week, Chuck, and I really don't know whose advantage it's going to be. Maybe we'll just wait till later, and we're going to talk to each one of the coaches and let them give us to some hint who they feel the field's going to be an advantage for.
Well, as you said, there are a lot of intangibles that are involved in this particular ball game. As you said, the Campers really are in, but they want to win so they can play at home. The Sentinels, on the other hand, have to win in order to even be considered. They really aren't in, even if they win this ball game. But their chances seem to be a whole lot better. They could be as high, what, as seventh or eighth, I think Mike said is where they could be ranked.
Seven or eight's about the best they can do. Now, if Chopticon beat Great Mills last night, then Chopticon's going to be in regardless of what happens at Fort Hill today when it comes to bonus points. So, you know, it's awful difficult to predict at this time what's taking place. All we have to do is let Fort Hill play the game today, read in the paper tomorrow who won and lost, accumulate the bonus points, then you'll know. There's no sense in us trying to offer any conjecture at this point in time.
It would be nice, really, if we could have 2 teams from Cumberland represented.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, it'd be great. Just like last year, the Campers made it all the way to the finals, and Fort Hill made it to the semifinals and lost to the eventual runner-up, McDonough, in a good semifinal game. So, you know, I've often said that mediocrity by Fort Hill and Allegany can beat the superiority of the teams downstate. So I might be a little prejudiced, but I do believe that.
Well, I believe that so too, Jim. We have seen this happen too many times in the past. But the stands are filling up. You have one side covered with the blue and white, the other side with the red and white. And the tradition here is just something that anybody that doesn't live in this area and understand what football means to this community really would be amazed to come in here and see what's going to happen today.
Maybe we can let the coaches explain it as you talk to Coach Gilmore and as I talk to Coach Calhoun.
Jack Gilmore, the coach of the Allegany Campers. Jack, it's been an outstanding season for you, and maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe you didn't think you'd be in the position you're in at 8-1. You had a lot of inexperienced people. You really only brought back one starter, and I believe that was Mike Reed. Of course, that's a pretty good man to build your offense around.
Yeah, Mike's done a tremendous job for us. No, I think at the beginning of the year, we knew we had some potential. We knew that the boys were dedicated. The program is there. It's a continuation of a long program. And we felt that if we could get things going, we felt that we could win more ball games than we lost. If you'd asked me if I was going to be 8-1 going into the Fort Hill game, I'd have been skeptical. But I had a lot of confidence in the boys, and they have a lot of pride.
Well, they certainly have, and they've come through in some adverse situations this year and have really proved that they are a good, solid football team.
They have done that, and I think a lot of the credit has to go to the coaching staff, the assistant coaches. They work hard. They get them ready. We meet the adversities when they come up. We don't panic, and I think that's an important thing. And we have come back a couple times. We came back, did well in the Martinsburg game, even though we lost it. And we came back, of course, last week against a really good Altoona football team.
Oh, that's one of the better high school football games I've seen in a while. The fact that, you know, they got you down, but you didn't lose your poise, and you didn't change your game plan. You just came back with what you do best, and it worked out that you got finally chased Jason Keller into the end zone for the winning score.
Well, we've been dependent on Jason in our running attack, and we're a run-oriented team, and you can't change your game plan. I know when you've talked with Coach Rafosco, and I've heard you on your TV games, you go with what you've been doing well, and especially in a game like this, you start coming out and trying to do all kinds of strange and unusual things, you're going to kill yourself.
No, I made a statement last week to Jim. I said, you go with what brung you here.
That's exactly right. I think I quoted you in the newspaper because I believe that. And I know Coach Rafosco believes that. I think any coach does. Oh, you might put in a new wrinkle here and there and a special play, but to change your offense or change your defense this late in the year, all you do is confuse your players, and they're hyped enough without something like that.
Okay, Jack, so we've had a good bit of rain. You know, is this going to have any adverse effect on what you plan to do?
Not really, and I don't think, you know, we played in the state playoffs last year, and it was a bad weather, and we got beat by a really good football team. And I think we learned something in that you can't let the weather bother you. We haven't talked about the weather. We haven't stressed it with the kids. We've just gone ahead and practiced. And I'm sure that Coach Calhoun has done the same thing. It's going to boil down to which team makes the least mistakes, which team plays better, just like it could be 80 degrees and bone dry.
Hey, Jack, I want to extend our heartiest congratulations to you on an excellent season and wish you all the luck in the world today.
Thank you very much.
Let's look back and tell me what you think about what transpired this year and how you feel your team did this year and where you are today and where you think you're going to go, and et cetera.
Well, I tell you, Jim, we feel real good about what's happened this year so far. The thing our program needs is consistency. That's one thing that your program had. You had a consistent program from January 1 through to January 1 with the weight training and track and all that. And that's what we need. Fort Hill's kind of been in a turmoil. And, we've got a coaching staff now that's going to stay. They're going to work, and we're going to get things done. And I think that's the big thing that Allegany's had. When you left, they kept the consistency, the same program, and that's helped them. We've established this program now. We feel good about where it's going, and we're going to keep that consistency.
So you feel good about the 7-2 up until this point then?
We feel real good about that. We played two great football teams, Magruder and Frederick. We really feel we're a better football team than Frederick and Magruder. Turnovers hurt us in that football game. We'd like to have a shot at those people again. I think we're as good a football team as those two.
Well, I'll tell you, I have to commend you on the job you did this year, Mike. You did an exceptional job up here coming in for the first year. It seemed like your players got acclimated to you right away, and with your positive attitude and everything, I think things are just going to go along exceptionally well for you. Let's turn around for a moment and look at the field. What do you think about the field?
Well, they got to play on it too, okay? It's hard to say. We talked with John Snyder, who ran some routes early, Jim, and, he said the footing's good. He likes the footing on the sidelines. He says, well, he's having problems in the middle of the field.
Well, from my recollection, I don't think he ran 3 or 4 patterns in the middle of the field this year. All of your patterns with him has been down and outs or flag patterns, more so than post patterns. What do you think about today?
Well, listen, that's the old coach coming out to you now. See, you're scouting us already. No, I tell you, this is, as a coach, and you know this is the kind of game you want to be in. And it's a big game. Everything's on the line here. The city, the area, the CVAL, everything, and a possibility of a state playoff for us. This is where you want to be.
Well, Mike, you adapted well to the red, and good luck today, and I wish you the best.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, Chuck, the stage is set. What more can be said? Regardless of the field condition, the stands are getting packed. We're going to have a packed house in here today, and it's just going to be another Super Saturday here in Cumberland in November.
Boy, you got that right, Jim. And you can just feel the excitement in the air. The hype is all getting ready. And both these teams, I think, are going to come out here, and they're just going to do what it takes.
I think so, too, and I'm looking forward to it, and let's get it started.
Okay, so am I. We'll be back for the kickoff in just a moment. National anthem has been played, Jim. Now starts the hype.
Well, you know, I'm looking across the field at the camper side over there, and if Darryl wants to take a look over there at the Blue Wave, they have a banner over there, Catch the Blue Wave. Well, I'll tell you, Chuck, this week you almost had to catch one to get somewhere.
Well, you almost had to. I tell you, the way it rained here all through the week, we were very, very concerned as to whether this game was going to be played or not. Unless you're not already been made aware, the Bishop Walsh and Bell High game has been postponed and will be replayed on Monday. There is some water on the field, on the will be on the Fort Hill side, the visiting side, between the 30 and the 40-yard line. But Jim, that's a characteristic of this stadium. That's been like that ever since I can remember.
Well, it's been like that. I know I've been in the area 10 years, coached on this field for 8 years, and it's never changed. It's always wet on the side closer to the press box, Chuck. But other than that, the field is not dug up, meaning that there could be some firm footing out there. I think it's important that Allegany campers have firm footing because, Chuck, they have to move the ball gradually up and down the field. I don't think the Campers have a big play offense. They have a grinded-out attack type of offense, whereas the Sentinels, with the Snyder, is big play.
Yes, it is.
He can do it on a punt return, kickoff return, a pass interception, or a pass reception. So I just hope that the field doesn't have a direct bearing, and I know it is, but that much of a plays that big of a part in the final outcome of this football game.
Well, you would really hate to see just a certain situation turn a ball game around for two teams that are as well coached, as well organized, and coming in here with the records that they have had. The Campers lost their opening game of the season. They're on an 8-game winning streak. They lost a tough ball game to Martinsburg. The Sentinels, on the other hand, lost 2 tough ball games. They lost a tough game to Frederick and a tough one to Magruder. That they were really in both ball games. In fact, they had a chance to win the Frederick game, but remember the attempted field goal. They had a bad snap from center, and that ball game went down the drain. So both teams coming in here should be very, very proud of what they've accomplished so far this year.
Well, I just want to make one more comment before you talk about the officials, Chuck, and the captains out there. Neither team has played on a wet field this year. We've had a great fall, and the field is in excellent shape, and really, this is the first game in which they have an opportunity to play on a field such as this, Chuck. So I don't know what bearing it's going to have on the final outcome.
Yeah, so you can't really say one team has an advantage because of the playing conditions, but out on the center of the field now are the captains. Captain number 33 is Steve Dandridge. The other captain for the Sentinels is number 12, Kevin Ratke. All right, for the Allegany Campers, number 75, Mike Reed, and number 32 is Jason Keller. The officials for today's ball game are from the Washington, D.C. Area Football Officials Association. They are, the referee is David Pulaski, the umpire Walter Matheson, the head linesman John Luther, the line judge Joseph Short, the back judge is Terry McAlay. So, Jim, we're just about ready for these football teams to come on the field.
Well, the Camper band is striking up "'Tis Allegany," and the Campers are at the south end of the field waiting to come on. I don't know if they're waiting to see if Fort Hill's going to come on now or not. But in the rule book, Chuck, it states that the home team has to be on the field first, I do believe, before any penalties are assessed.
That's correct.
So the Campers are going to have to make the move sooner or later. I don't know if they're waiting for the Sentinels to come down the steps, a traditional trademark of the Sentinels through the years. And it used to be intimidating to some people, Chuck, but it hasn't been intimidating to the Campers here of recent years.
Well, Jim, you know, as you go through this thing year after year after year, and the fact that really this is the home field of both of these schools. So if there are going to be any hype or anything like that, I would think that it would almost all be academic at this point.
I'm sure, you know, there's just as much blue here as there is red here, and you know, this makes my stomach get a little queasy, Chuck, just looking around, looking at the tradition that is established by both schools, looking at the pageantry out there on the field, looking at all the people attired in red and blue. You know, it just makes me feel like I'd like to be there, you know, and to coach in a game like this was tremendous excitement for me, and I know for the athletes, because, you know, when this game is over today, it'll be talked about until next year.
Oh, definitely.
Replayed again.
Definitely.
Where in many other instances, the game is forgotten after the winner loss.
But this ball game has a lot of tradition, and it has been in its exception since they started the playoffs. Prior to that, it was a big hullabaloo for Thanksgiving, and I'm not sure from a coaching around the first week in November. And then if you weren't going to play till Thanksgiving, you had 2 or 3 weeks to keep these kids sharp. You know, is it a better situation then or a better situation now as far as keeping the players ready?
It's a better situation now. It was tradition, but once the tradition was broke, people found out. Really, Chuck, there's been more support as far as attendance in the last 10 years than there was in any previous Thanksgiving Day games. And at the time, Cumberland was more heavily populated. So I think that's an answer to the question right there, that because of the support that the fans are giving this ball game, that it hasn't hurt coming to this early season and letting the state championship game take place at Thanksgiving. I just hate it. When I coached in New Jersey...
Here comes the Sentinels. Sorry to interrupt you, Jim. Go ahead.
But when I coached in New Jersey, we had Thanksgiving Day, and we had 2-week waiting period. And it was a long 2 weeks.
Okay, and here come the Campers. Now, if you can't get excited about this ball game, I don't know what it would take to get somebody excited.
Oh, it's fantastic, and as a coach and as a player, well, until that ball is kicked or received, you know, you're on cloud nine, and then your feet hit the ground, and the screws start tightening real quick, believe me. And I think I coached this game defensively more than offensively through the years, Chuck, in that I coached not to make a mistake, and really it might have hurt our chances if I'd have coached it offensively. And we tried offensively. I've had an open attack on many occasions in coaching this game, but a mistake in this game is magnified 10 times as would be a mistake in a regular season game.
Well, because it's the last game of the season, you got a lot on the line, generally speaking here, and we do have a lot on the line in this ball game. And we're running true to form, Jim. The Sentinels are going to kick off. The Campers are going to receive.
Well, we knew that prior to the game starting. I think it's an advantage for the Sentinels to kick off right now. Why let Allegany make a mistake in their territory? Oh, I'm so excited. You know, it's what this game does to Allegany County and is unbelievable. And there's a lot of support from other school districts or other schools in the county. Not just Cumberland people are here, Chuck, or Allegany, Fort Hill people. People drive up from Hagerstown or Martinsburg just to see this, just to see what's taking place out here.
I talked to a fellow last night from Norfolk, Virginia that came up here for this game. He said, please tell me it's not going to be rained out.
No, I think it would have to be, I think a thunderstorm is the only way, or with lightning storm would actually be the only way this game is going to be canceled today.
Okay, so we're just about ready to go. The Campers are lining up. Back to receive deep is Todd Maurer in the middle, and he's flanked by Terry Ashby and by Bennett Strickland. The Sentinels lining up. It looks like C.G. Wilson will be kicking off for Fort Hill as they spread out and get ready to kick. Homecoming 1986. The Fort Hill Sentinels, the Allegany Campers. For bragging rights in the city, and here we go. It's going to be handled by Maurer at the 13-yard line. Comes up the middle. Stacked up near the 30 as the Campers will put it in play. I think they're going to mark it about their own 29-yard line.
Well, we know the Campers are going to try Reed. Well, maybe what they might do is get away from Jason Keller early and use their other backs, Chuck. I don't know what the game plan. I haven't talked to Jack in depth on what he wants to do offensively, but, you know, he mentioned in the paper he's going to dance with the girl that brung him.
The girl that brung him, that's right.
Let's face it, Reed and Keller brung him along with, I mean, it wasn't just a two-man show. There was an 11-man show, but let's look for him to go over Big Reed and see what we can get early.
Okay, so Rumgay is the center. The guards are Johnson and Rice. The tackles, Wolford and Reed. Billy Park.
I see a change already, Dad.
And Paul Reed at the end positions.
Fort Hill's in the 6-2, Chuck.
Bobby Robinette is the quarterback. The handoff is fumbled, and the Sentinels have it. Well, you talk about a big break early now, and I think Eric Beal is on the bottom with the recovery.
Fort Hill is in a tight 6-2 defense that's reminiscent of the way Bishop Falls played the Campers, Chuck. So it looks like Mike Calhoun and Barry Latimer, the defensive coordinator for the Sentinels, took a page from Bishop Falls' book.
Gary Noose's book.
Or Gary Noose's book, and is implying some of the principles right now. What a break early.
So a fumble, Keller on the carry, and Eric Beal comes up with the turnover. So it's the Sentinels, 1st and 10 from the Camper, 32-yard line. Jeff Brode fakes. He's going to pass, looking for Snyder. And he's got it.
Down at the
what a catch. Holy Toledo, what a catch down at the 8-yard line.
What they tried to do is jam Snyder on the corner, Chuck, and the corner takes him back about 10 yards and releases him to the safety who has half the field, and he just got over there late. He almost knocked the ball down, but you just can't give Snyder an opportunity or get him open because we know it can happen, and here's Fort Hill knocking at the door already. I just feel that this field is in the favor of Fort Hill right now because of Snyder.
Right, Rickard tried to get in there to knock it down, but Snyder made just a fantastic catch, great concentration. So the Sentinels knocking on the door. Line up with a full house backfield. Brode is the quarterback. The handoff is to Eric Beal. He's in for the score. So Eric Beal recovers the fumble, and he also gets the Sentinels on the board on an 8-yard TD run, and we're at the 10:41 mark. And I'll guarantee you this is really going to slink up this Fort Hill side.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Fort Hill is just going crazy over here. Let's face it, Chuck, not much time's off the clock. A minute and 18 seconds, 19 seconds, and they're already in the end zone. The point is going to be very important in this ball game, the extra point.
So we're looking at Vince Lay to attempt the extra point. Holder will be Jeff Brode. It's up.
He slipped, Chuck, and he made it.
It's no good. It's no good.
There's the footing right there, playing a very important factor here, but he slipped, and it's no good, 6-0.
So we've had a real turn of events here. The Campers taking at the kickoff at their own 29-yard line, and on the first play from scrimmage, Jason Keller gained about 3 or 4 yards. And right now we're looking at the Atheist Plaza Exxon scoreboard, the Fort Hill Sentinel 6, the Allegany Campers nothing. So just remember that Atheist Exxon LaVale Service Center is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the Sentinels strike first on the turnover, Jim. And we've been talking here for several weeks about this game. And the team that gets a break, could really make a big difference.
There's no doubt about it, and Fort Hill got a big break there and took advantage of it with Snyder right away. Nothing happened any different than what we expected, Chuck. They went to Snyder, and then Bill scored a touchdown. The Campers, again, they had to go to Keller.
All right, Strickland takes it and runs it back to the 34-yard line. Well, the main thing right now in this situation, don't panic, just go do your thing. And
well, there's a lot of time. We know the Campers can come back, Chuck, because
we've
they
seen
did
it all
year long, so there's nothing different. Now, only difference is, Chuck, and I'll have to say this up front, Fort Hill's defense is a little tougher than any defense that Allegany played against all year because of the strength of their secondary that is seasoned, and the whole defense is seasoned. I'm well impressed with the Fort Hill defense. And then they're in a 6-2 again, split 6. Come back with the same play.
The same play to Jason Keller. He gets up to the 44-yard line, a gain of about 4 yards on the play. So it's Keller, Ashby, and Maurer in the backfield for the Campers. Robbie Robinette is the quarterback. We'll try and give you the Sentinels defensively here as they come out. You have Zacharias, Steve Hess at the ends. Let me see. I believe we got McConnell and... well, I'd try to catch his numbers for you, but Beal and Apple are the linebackers. Hand off once again to Keller. And is it a fumble? The Sentinels are motioning like they have the ball, and they do.
Fort Hill's saying, come right at us, and Allegany's trying to go at him. Things are going to be tough for the Campers today, just trying to run that football, Chuck. And another turnover could be disaster right now. Let's look for Calhoun to go right back at Snyder.
I would.
Right, might as well, right? Dig it. Gosh, what a turn of events here.
Holy Toledo. 2 fumbles, and they're going to split. John Snyder out wide to the right. Billy Colbert splits out wide left. I formation. Beal and Wilson, the running backs. Now the handoff is to Wilson. He goes off right tackle. Brought down by Randy Wolford as he crosses the 40 to near the 39-yard line of the Allegany Campers.
Mike Calhoun told me in an earlier interview, Chuck, that he's going to run at Allegany, sure, just to keep him honest. And then he's going to throw. But I don't know what the field is going to do to his thinking as far as offensive game plan is concerned. I don't think he's going to throw as much as he would like to throw because of the field. But, Chuck, when I look at it realistically, I think a wet field or a muddy field is an advantage to the passing team rather than the defender's team.
Okay, he's taking Snyder and Colbert out. He's in with 2 tight ends and a full house backfield. Okay, Eric Beal, the ball carrier, down to the 36-yard line.
Well, he's in 4-down area, and he's working the sideline over there, knowing that is the best sideline and probably the driest part on the field over there, Chuck.
Number 54, Troy Mowry, on the stop for the Campers. And they're trying to keep it, as you said, Jim, on the far side of the field where the footing is better. So now Kevin Holderby checks into the lineup.
It's, they're getting conservative already. Why not? They're 6 points ahead. They can punt and put Allegany. Allegany's fumbled the ball on 2...
both possessions.
Both possessions.
So again, it's a full house backfield. A little pass, and looked like it was intended out here for both Holderby and Furstenberger in the area, but it was well overthrown.
Allegany campers did a good job of holding up the receivers there. It was a good play action, but they just didn't have any good footing out there, Chuck, coming to the sidelines. They're going to punt right now and put the campers back.
Number 87, Troy Todd, checks into the lineup. He normally is the punter for the Sentinels. The line of scrimmage is the 36-yard line as we look at Athey's Plaza Exxon scoreboard with the Sentinels leading 6-0 and receive 25% off of an oil change, filter, and lube after 4 p.m. at Athey's LaVale Exxon service station. He's aiming it for the sidelines, and it's going to roll out of bounds at the 12.
That's, that puts them back in a hole pretty good, Chuck. Allegany can't afford to make a mistake. Allegany has to run Keller either off tackle or up the middle. There is no second guessing as far as Fort Hill's defense. They know what Allegany has to do. Now they're in a 6-man line, and they're out to stop it. And they've done a pretty good job of it.
Yes, they have. They've caused 2 turnovers. One they were able to cash in on. The second one they were not. But the punt by Troy Todd puts the Campers in a hole at their own 12-yard line. This is their 3rd possession.
They're standing in their 6-man line. I think against a long situation, what they're going to do is probably go to a 5, Chuck, in a passing situation.
Okay, so Keller up over the, give him about a yard gain to the 13, 2nd down and 9.
They're snuffing him out pretty good.
Yes, they are. The backfield, the defensive secondary for the Campers, number 11 is Lance Steckman, number 30, David Starr, number 32 is Kevin Holderby, and number 21 is John Snyder. I'm sorry, Snyder's not in the ballgame right now.
He might be injured. They took him out earlier. Well, 3 deep, they're probably giving him a rest.
Yeah, they are. So they're going with Holderby as the safety. The handoff is to Maurer, and it's fumbled again. On the handoff, Todd Maurer not able to keep a hold of it, and number 74, Steve Michael, comes up with the ball. Holy smoke, what a game.
Campers seem to be very uptight here, Chuck, early, and they just can't afford to make a mistake like this. That puts Fort Hill in field goal position right now. Fort Hill kicks a field goal. Allegheny Campers got to score twice to win this ball game.
That's
and
right.
On this field and the way Fort Hill's playing defense, that's going to be a difficult task.
So we're going to call it the Allegheny 13-yard line. 1st and goal for the Sentinels on the 3rd turnover here in the 1st period. Full house backfield, Eric Beal, the ball carrier, and he just drives down near the 5-yard line.
Boy, they're running right at the strength of the Campers, but then again, that McConnell right tackle has been exceptional for the Sentinels all year, and he's not going to buckle down to anybody, Chuck. We've seen him operate in some big clutch situations before, and he's done an exceptional job, and he just mowed him down there.
He certainly did. Anthony Rumgay on the stop for the Campers, but it's down to the 6-yard line, 2nd down and 4. The Sentinels really appear to be in command of this ball game so far during this 1st quarter. Handoff is to Beal once again, and boy, he's just driving into the... He's got to have a 1st down near the 2.
They're just going over their horse McConnell right now, and he's just driving them right out of there, Chuck. There is Mark McConnell, number 78, is just paving the way.
Boy, he is doing a great job. They're going to have a measurement. The ball is placed nearer the 3. So officials timeout for a measurement.
Looks about on a 2.5. I can't see where the mark is over there, Chuck, but it's on a 2.5, so it's very close.
It's 1st and goal.
Boy, the Camper fans haven't had anything to cheer about, Chuck. They're awful quiet over there.
They sure haven't. It's not been a very good day for the Campers so far. Steve Hess checks into the lineup, replacing Kevin Holderby. They'll be in that full house backfield once again. C.G. Wilson, Eric Beal, and Steve Hess in the backfield for the Sentinels. Handoff again is to Beal. He's stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
He's going to make it down to about the 1. A good hit and spin roll, Chuck, to work his way back off tackle, and he's got about maybe a half a yard to go for the score.
So they stack him up at the line of scrimmage, but...
Well, Fort Hill's not going to do anything fancy right now.
No, they're just going to go straight ahead.
McConnell bought him here by blocking over there, so why not? They're just going to keep running over McConnell. They established that early.
So we've less than a yard to go. Then there's a flag on the play.
There has to be encroachment on somebody's behalf. It would hurt Fort Hill more than it would hurt Allegheny. If it's against Fort Hill, it's a 5-yard penalty. Against Allegany, it'll only be about a 6-inch penalty.
So an encroachment call against the offensive line, that hurts.
Especially in a game like this, Chuck, where every inch that you scratch for is important to you, and you know, the play's not even developed, or you're not even at the line of scrimmage to execute the play, and boom, a 5-yard penalty. Boy, it makes the coach sick right now. Changes your whole thinking offensively right now.
So instead of a second and a foot, now we got second and almost 6.
And that's going to be a tough 6 yards to go.
And he'll get inside the 5 to the 4, stacked up by Todd Maurer.
You know, at the half-yard line, he scores. Right there,
right.
He doesn't.
And Maurer on the bottom of that pile also, with a little bit of help over from Mike Reed.
I look for the quarterback, Road, to probably run a bootleg to this side of the field, Chuck. I don't know if it's going to be a pass, run. You able to locate Snyder down there anywhere?
No, he's not on the field. He's standing down here on the sideline. I can see him, yeah.
No injury or anything of this nature.
Doesn't appear to be.
Can't understand the thinking of, well, they got the 2 tight ends in there blocking. Let's see if Frode runs a waggle this way, or a bootleg, some sort of action.
He's looking to pass. His man is wide open. And it's complete to, is that 88 to Zacharias. No, 86, Furstenberg.
That's the same play he tried to complete earlier, Chuck, and it didn't develop, and it developed. He just was wide open, popped wide open. Great call, great play. Little play action. Fort Hill's ahead, 12-0. Gosh, this is going to be a big uphill climb for the Campers right now,
Chuck. It certainly is. So 2 turnovers. Actually, the Campers have had 3 turnovers. The Sentinels have been able to capitalize on 2 of them.
Now they have.
Now they're going to go for 2. Snyder's back into the lineup along with Billy Colbert, and they're going to move the try for the extra point to the left hash mark, give him a whole wide side of the field on the right side.
Well, what a turn of events here, Chuck. 3:51 to go.
So Colbert is split out wide to the left side. Snyder is in the slot. Holderby moves up into the slot. And it's for Holderby, and he's got it.
So with just 3 minutes and 51 seconds to go in this ball game, Chuck, the Sentinels are ahead 14-0, and I never thought 14 points were going to be scored by both teams. But let's face it, Chuck, it's been the Campers' miscues that enabled Fort Hill to get in the end zone this early with 2 scores.
That's right. So with the score, the Fort Hill Sentinels 14, the Allegany Campers nothing. We're going to pause for this commercial break. One left here in the first period. It'll be handled by Maurer at the 12-yard line. Tries to come up the middle, and he's met very solidly. Led in there by number 81 of the Sentinels, Tim Murphy. And again, they're inside the 30-yard line, and we've seen the Sentinels do this all year, Jim.
Hey, the Sentinels are tough defensively, Chuck. People have underrated the Sentinels all year. Chuck, we have to realize that they've lost to the number 1 A team in the state, and possibly to maybe the number 2 team in the state as far as ranking is concerned in their division. So, you know, they've played some fine people, and they played them both close.
So the Campers, with their work really cut out for them, and they're really not a catch-up kind of offense, but Maurer, what a fine run. Lance Steckman saved the touchdown.
Well, there was a lot of arm tackling on that particular play, Chuck. He was almost nailed in the backfield by 2 players, and then the linebacker nearly got him, and he almost broke that play.
Yes, he did. If Steckman hadn't got a good hold on him, Todd Maurer may have gone the distance. But it's the first down for the Campers. That has to make them all feel a little bit better.
Definitely so. They hadn't fumbled.
So the ball at the 40-yard line, 45-yard line, 1st and 10. There's that 6-man line up there again, Jim. The handoff is to Keller. Short yardage to the 48-yard line. He's stacked up by Zacharias, by Furstenberg. 2 yards on a carry, 2nd down, 8. Now Snyder checks back into the lineup now. The Athey Plaza Exxon scoreboard, Fort Hill 14, Allegany nothing. And Athey's Plaza Exxon has 3 ASE certified technicians to provide complete mechanical services for your car. So check with Athey's Exxon in LaVale. to Ashby. And he'll be corralled over on the far side by David Starr.
That's going to put him in a passing situation, Chuck. Third and what, 5?
Third and almost 5.
And they like that veer pass. Look for him to ride Keller over right guard this time and try to hit the right end. Bill Park on a quick pop.
So the official's asking for a dry ball.
That's going to be difficult here in a quarter or so because that ball is not only going to be wet, Chuck, it's going to get heavy.
So third down, 5 yards to go for the Campers.
There's Fort Hill on their 52. They've changed on the passing situation just as I figured they would.
Inside handoff and goes nowhere. Goes nowhere. Stacked up by number 76, Lonnie Lewis, in on the bottom of that pile. So 4th down and 3 coming for the Campers. They're just over the 50 at the Sentinel 48-yard line.
Furstenberg did a good job in jamming that play up. Also, it was a trap, and he got in there, did his exceptional job as he was doing all year, Chuck. And the linebackers just smelled the play out.
Yeah, he has played outstanding from that nose guard position.
In that particular situation, when the Campers come out in that offensive alignment, it's either going to be a sweep or the counter in a long situation.
So Brian Ollinger in punt formation. Back deep is John Snyder. Bad snap.
Whoa, that was very close to getting rough in the... Well, if the ball bounced on the ground, it's not a rough in the...
That's right.
Punter, right, Chuck?
Right. So a bad kick by Ollinger, and he had to get it off in a hurry. And the Sentinels with good field position at their own 32-yard line.
You think the Sentinels are going to open up our offense now, Chuck, and put Snyder back in there and try to get back to their original attack? I'm not original attack, but their wide open attack, let's say.
So this is the first time they've had the ball in their own territory. It has been Fort Hill just dominating this first period, causing 3 turnovers by the Campers, 2 of them which they've turned into scores. Rode back to pass, looking for Snyder. He's got him, and he's finally brought down at the 47-yard line by number 17, Sean Ricker. But there's that combination again.
Yes, it is, and, you know, it's been good for them all year, and where Allegany goes to the fullback in a crucial situation, the Sentinels go to Snyder. Why not? Look what he's done all year, Chuck. I mean, and returning punts and kickoffs and interception of passes and receiving of passes. He's been their big play man all year.
He's got great hands, that young man.
That was it. You know, he had to turn around and catch it over the wrong shoulder there and did a great job of bringing that ball home and holding on to it.
1st and 10. Handoff is to the fullback, Beal. He'll get into Camper territory at the 49-yard line as the first quarter comes to an end. So a big first quarter for the Fort Hill Sentinels. They lead the Allegany Campers by a score of 14-0, and we'll be back for second quarter action right after this message.
You know, I can't remember Fort Hill being in the 6 all year, Chuck.
No, I can't either, Jim. Mostly they just play that 5-man front, but they've been able to handle the Campers so far in this ball game. 2nd down and 9. There's the pitch to Holderby trying to get outside. And he's stacked up by number 62, Brian Johnson, who did a nice job in fighting off his blockers with a little bit of help from Gary Henry. But a nice gain for Kevin Holderby. They're down inside the 45-yard line. Bring up a 3rd down situation and about 3.
You know, with Allegany beating Middletown last night, that really helped out the Campers, Chuck. But, you know, you don't know who you're going to play in these playoffs. You know?
That's right.
And depending on the outcome of this game, of course, will determine where they're going to be placed. But we do know that the 4 region winners are the home team for the first round.
3rd down, full house backfield. We're going to have to get a delay a game against the Sentinels. So that'll be a very costly penalty. Instead of 3rd and 3, you're going to look at 3rd and 8.
Well, that just means they're going to go to Snyder.
They're to Snyder instead of, they had the full house backfield in there. And here comes Snyder and also Troy Todd into the ball game.
This particular situation, Chuck, they like a down and out by Snyder, about 10 yards. It's a time pass. But with the Campers sitting a cornerback on Snyder, he's taking him for about 10 yards. So it might be an ill-advised pass. Maybe a turn in might be a better pass to throw than a turn out.
Now, we haven't seen him run that all year.
No, we haven't. Mike Calhoun was telling me that, hey, Jim, the footing on the outside's good. I said, it bothered to be for Snyder because he hasn't run a post pattern all year.
And he's back to pass. Little hitch pass out here for Eric Beal, and it's incomplete off Eric's fingertips. Bring up a 4th down punting situation for the Sentinels.
It was well covered, Chuck. The Sentinels had it, or the Sentinels. I mean, the Campers had it pretty well covered. Everybody was covered, and they have to get in gear. You know, they're going to have bad field position here again. You know, they're going to be close down to, what, the 20-yard line, 15-yard line?
Yes, so they need a break somewhere. Troy Todd back in punt formation for the Sentinels. Back deep is Bennett Strickland and Todd Maurer for the Campers. Nice kick. Maurer will handle it at the 18-yard line, and he'll go nowhere.
Great coverage.
Great coverage. The first man down there. Good Lord, I believe it's Steve Hess, number 42. And he just did a super job of getting down there covering that punt. So the Campers will put it in play at their own 19-yard line. 1st and 10. And they got to make something happen. The Atheist Plaza Exxon scoreboard. Fort Hill 14, Allegany nothing. And the scoreboard is brought to you by Atheist Plaza Exxon with 24-hour service and mechanical repairs and state inspections from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
We're going back to the original line of scrimmage, Chuck. Something has
flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play.
And it's against the Sentinels. That's a big one.
It's a 15-yard penalty. Campus want to take it, I guess.
That'll be a 10-yard, probably holding. Illegal use of hands. So it'll make them punt it over again.
That possibly gives the Campers better field position now because, you know, that punter has a heavy foot right now because of all the mud, and he's just not going to kick that ball exceptionally well.
So once again, Troy Todd will be back in punt formation for the Fort Hill Sentinels. Bennett Strickland and Todd Maurer back deep for the Campers. Good rush. And again, another nice kick. And the Campers going to let this one bounce. And it'll roll dead at the 26-yard line. So they gain 7 yards on the exchange. So the holding penalty against the Sentinels made them punt it from 10 yards further back, and the Campers wind up with +7 over where they would have had it before. So 1st and 10 from their own 26-yard line, and they got to make something happen, Jim. They got to make it happen now. Ashby goes in motion. The handoff is to Ashby trying to get outside, and he's not going to get out there. David Starr once again on the stop.
Only one man was there, Chuck, but he was enough. If Ashby could have dipped inside and maybe throws the defender, he could have broken back to the outside, and who knows, he might have gone for a touchdown. But Fort Hill's playing it very close defensively here in this 6-man line, and they're not familiar with it, but they're doing an exceptional job. They couldn't have picked a better defense. They knew it was wet all week.
Right.
You know, so this is probably why they're playing a 6-2. They knew it was wet all week. Now they're in their 5-4.
Yeah, Snyder just came back in replacing, I think it was Glenn Simpson. They're back into their 5. Hand off to Keller. He gets it to the 30-yard line. Down on the bottom of that pile is Steve Michael, number 74. So we're looking to 3rd down and 6 for the Campers.
Campers can't afford another mistake at this time, Chuck. They have to be very careful in play selection here because another mistake could be catastrophic for them.
All right, it's a big play for the Campers. 3rd down. 6 yards to go. Robinette back to pass, and it's batted down. It was intended, I believe, for Billy Park. And I think that's Furstenberg once again.
No, that wasn't Furstenberg. That was Zacharias at the end, Chuck.
Well, their numbers are kind of obliterated.
Yeah, it was 88 instead of 78 because I was looking at the monitor. That's the only reason I knew it.
Okay. Good. It's kind of hard to determine whether it was 86 or 88. Now we got a flag on the play out
Holding
here.
against Fort Hill. That's going to give the Campers 1st down. You know, that's a break they needed, Chuck.
Well, I guarantee it is.
Field. You know, that puts them in not good field position, but better field position than they.
And that's a rare call where you got defensive holding. But it's a 1st down.
Let's see if the Campers go back to Keller and try to establish their ground attack, because without a Chuck, they just can't move the football.
They're in that six-man front again. Here's a handoff to Ashby. Rice leading the blocking. They got a flag on the play, and Ashby could go all the way, and it may be called back. It probably will be. There's a flag on the play.
When the umpire throws that flag, Chuck, it's usually a hold.
It is. It's against the Campers, nullifying a 60-yard touchdown run by Terry Ashby.
It's the same play that I mentioned earlier, Chuck. If he had maybe dipped inside and then broke outside, he set up his block, he could have gone for a touchdown. Darn it if he didn't come right back and do it. But the misfortunes of the Campers so far in this first half is that nothing's going their way, and a 15-yard penalty cost them 6 points. So just a bad break for them.
So once again, Snyder checks back into the lineup, and number 75 is Glenn Simpson, comes out. So they're probably going to go back to that five-man front with the regular four-deep secondary.
I'll tell you, Chuck, this stadium's getting a nice crowd in it. You know, we're a little leery there about the crowd at 1:30 kickoff, but it looks like she's going to be over 10,000 here this afternoon.
So a holding penalty nullifies a 60-yard touchdown run by Terry Ashby. Inside handoff is to Maurer. He bounces off of people and gets about 3 yards.
Boy, that touchdown could have really put the Campers back in good position, Chuck. Well, they're just going to have to suck it up and get another one.
Right. So a gain of 3 on the play. Going to bring up second down and 14.
You know, the longer this game goes, the worse the field conditions are going to be, Chuck, and then we don't know whose advantage it's going to be at that time. But little Terry Ashby utilized his good footing and made a nice run, but wasn't any good because of a holding penalty.
Todd Maurer splits out wide to the left side. The pitch is to Ashby, trying to cut back inside, and he gets nowhere. Steve Hess on the stop for the for the Sentinels, stopping Ashby for a short gain.
That's going to put him in a precarious position here, Chuck. Third and 12? Third and 12.
Third about 12.
Yeah. I think Toby Eric, the offensive coordinator for Campus, is willing to try anything now. You know how disheartened he feels after that play's called back, and to run quick pitches on a field like this takes a lot of guts, so he is showing a lot of guts on his behalf.
So it's third and 12. A little waggle by Robinette, and he throws it up in the air, and it's out of bounds, intended for Terry Ashby. Punting situation coming now for the Campers.
He just didn't get good footing, Chuck. He didn't get the ball up, his feet up underneath him. He was overstriding, consequently is just slipping all over the place, and the field's just not in that great a shape. And usually when that happens, the ball goes straight up in the air, and that ball could have been picked off, or bad things could have happened.
Well, as you said, anytime you put the ball in the air, 3 things could happen. 2 of them are bad. So John Snyder back to receive this punt for the Sentinels. Brian Ollinger in punt formation for the Campers, and they got a big rush on him. Ollinger has an opportunity to get a block, and he don't get it.
Boy, that was very close. Only had one man to beat, and if the Campers would have had the presence of mind to know that he was running it, I don't know if they have a code, the bingo code or something like that. I know when I was coaching, Chuck, I used to say bingo, bingo on an extra point or punt when we was in trouble, and everybody would recover to that side. And if they had the presence of mind there, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah, because if he catches one block on this side, there isn't anybody else out there.
There isn't. It was a good effort on his behalf, though, because he knew he wasn't going to get that front off. Just mistake after mistake here is costing the Campbells dearly.
Sentinels getting a terrific pass rush. John Snyder splits out wide to the right side. First and 10 for the Sentinels from the Camper, 46. Little play action. Brode looking to throw, and it's underthrown, intended for Zacharias.
Well,
he lost his footing out there, too, and couldn't really get planted.
Well, he was hurried by Johnson, the linebacker, and Keller on that side. And they just can't get their footing up under him, Chuck, and they just can't throw the ball that well. But it seems like both defenses are doing an exceptional job putting pressure on a passer.
So it'll bring up a second down.
Fort Hill's going to continue to throw the football or run a draw or screen or something, which they haven't had good success at this year at all, Chuck, draws and screens.
So they're in there now with their full house backfield on a second down and 10. And it's Beal, and he slips.
Terrible footing, just terrible footing. It's a shame that a game of this nature has to be played on a field of this condition.
So there'll be a loss of a yard and a half. He was covered by Mowry and Kegley. Third down, and we'll call it 3rd and 11. So now Snyder checks back in.
You know, Fort Hill doesn't want to make a mistake now, Chuck. They don't want to give the ball in good field position. They'd rather I'll just punt the ball and back the campers up.
So Broad, little play action looking for Snyder. There's a flag on the play, and it's complete, but it will not be a first down.
Well, there's going to be a holding penalty. Again, the umpire threw that flag, didn't he?
Now, there was a play that was batted from Troy Todd to Terry Zacharias for a completion.
Wonder if that was that flea flicker, Chuck, where you catch the ball and, lateral to the next
Now,
guy
really, Jim, it looked like it was overthrown,
And he just batted it down.
But it was neat, I'll tell you that. Looked like it could have been planned.
Maybe they'll plan it next week.
So it is a holding call against the Sentinels.
Now, here you go. It's going to be 10 yards. Sentinels are going to be backed up to the 40. Mike's just going to run his ball and punt it, I'm sure. He doesn't want to take any chances. Now we're talking about they could have possibly had the campers inside the 20, Chuck. Now we're talking about maybe 35, 40 on a punt with a half-decent run back. So you see how the complexion of the game changes just by one play.
So it's 3rd down and 22.
And if they get sack Broad here, they can even put it in their favor that much more.
Double wideouts. Colbert to the right, Snyder to the left. Broad is looking for Colbert. He's going deep. And it's intercepted. No, it isn't. Batted down by Bennett Strickland. He had it, but just couldn't hang on to it.
Well, if he'd have hung on to it, Chuck, I'm sure he'd have been out of bounds. So now they have to punt. Fort Hill's not sitting back and sitting on his 14-point lead,
they sure aren't. So the Sentinels in a punting situation. 4th down, 23 yards to go. Troy Todd back in punt formation. Back deep is Bennett Strickland and Todd Maurer for the Campers, standing at about the 25, 26-yard line. Good snap. And another nice kick. And it's handled by Maurer at the 31. Again, coverage by Steve Hess for the Sentinels.
That seems to be the wettest spot on the field right there, Chuck, right where the Campers have the ball in that hash mark. Traditionally, both of the 30s are the worst spots on the field on this side.
So the Campers from their own 31-yard line. Trailing 14-0 to the Fort Hill Sentinels. And up to Ashby. Rice leading the blocking if he can get through. Now he gets a nice gain of about 7 or 8 yards. Jerry Rice doing a good job leading the blocking.
Boy, they're just slipping and sliding out there now. If it wasn't a quagmire, it's going to be a quagmire when they get done.
I guarantee it will be. So we'll give him 7 yards on the carry. Going to bring up 2nd down and 3.
You can see the whole game plan of the Campers changing, Chuck. They're going away from Keller and giving it to Ashby on the sweeps. Seemed like that's their bread and butter.
Did he get it? No, it was incomplete. Faked it to Keller and tried to throw a little popper to Billy Park, but Billy just couldn't hang on to it.
Boy, if that ball would have been a little lower and he could have caught that thing in stride, it could have been Katie by the door for the Sentinels, I'll tell you. Boy, the Campers are coming so close, Chuck, but yet so far away. Their own mistakes are their own worst enemy right now. So 3rd down, 3.
the first down. Gets up near the 44-yard line. Again, Snyder on the stop this time for the Campers. After that first down carry, we're going to take a quick timeout right here. We'll be right back right after this message. Own 44-yard line.
Well, the Campers established that sweep to the right as their bread and butter right now, Chuck.
There's a little popper over the middle intended for Bennett Strickland, but it goes incomplete.
Here we are in a situation, Chuck, where the Campers are 14 points behind. They have 3 minutes and 30 seconds to move the ball, 55 yards. They're going to their passing game, something that they haven't had too great a success with all year, and they're trying to get it with that. Now they're playing in the hands of Fort Hill. As a football coach, I always thought that any time you can get a football team out of their what they do well into doing something else that they haven't done well, it's to your advantage.
So we'll see what happens now. Second down and 10. Handoff at Ashby, trying to go right. And he gets about 6 yards on that carry. That play seems to be working very well for the Campers, Jim.
Again, Jerry Rice is out there getting into the stomach of the defender. And as I said, they established this play as their bread and butter so far.
So the Athey Plaza Exxon scoreboard shows that Fort Hill Sentinels 14, the Allegheny Campers nothing. And the scoreboard is brought to you by Athey's Plaza Exxon, offering the Permashine Simon I Special Protective Shield coating for your car at $29.90. So stop in at Athey's Exxon in LaVale. Third down, 3 for the Campers.
Big play for the Campers, Chuck.
Just inside Sentinel territory at the 49-yard line. Handoff is to Keller, and he's going to have the first down.
The clock is the Campers' own worst enemy right now with, 3:15 to go. Still enough time. I don't believe the Campers used any of their timeouts, Chuck. If they could get on the scoreboard right now and make this ball game 14-7, cut that lead in half, they have a better chance in the second half because they have to kick off to the Sentinels in the second half.
That's right. Well, maybe we were a little premature. The officials are measuring for the first down. It is a first down for the Campers.
You just have an eagle eye, Chuck, that's all.
So 3:15 left in the second period. And the Campers, they almost have to get on the scoreboard in this drive.
Well, I'll tell you, the fans are going to have to start guessing along with us as far as who's making the plays here, Chuck, because the numbers are getting obliterated on the front and back.
Todd Maurer trying to go left. Good block again by Rice. Another good block by Rice.
2 blocks.
Boy, he did a great job leading out there that time. Just did a great job. 2 good blocks by Jerry Rice.
You know, he got into Lance Steckman and slowed him up momentarily, slid off of him, and, and then got into the next Holderby.
Yeah, I believe it was Holderby. He just did a great job that time.
The Campers have time, Chuck. They only have 30 yards to go, 2:54. They have to get on the scoreboard. They have to get on the scoreboard. Fort Hill has not been able to stop the sweep. They haven't had any success in stopping the sweep at all.
So the line of scrimmage is the Fort Hill 31-yard line.
Look for a sweep right this time.
Inside to Ashby. And again, good running by Terry Ashby. Gets him inside the 25-yard line.
The Campers are in the flow of their offensive game plan now, Chuck. It's working to perfection. They've just shown a lot of character all year by being able to come back and work their game plan, and now they are. They're just working it to perfection.
And the Sentinels, I believe they wanted a timeout. The signal came a timeout charged against the Sentinels. So they want to really talk things over here. A 9-yard carry that time by Ashby. And the Sentinels apparently a little bit shaken here, Jim. They want to talk this over.
Well, you have to take a timeout. Now, Barry has to do some blitzing. You pretty much know what side they're going to run the sweep on just by where the wing's set. They're going to run it to that wing. So what you have to do is maybe blitz it back to that side off tackle and try to get in there and try to knock the guards off, or so the back's naked, or try to get in there and get the back. You have to take a chance right now defensively, Chuck. Fort Hill is not having very good success stopping the Campers right now by their traditional defense. So they have to alter their traditional defense at 52 or to 6-2, whatever the case might be, and try to attack the offense and make things happen. You know, football game is nothing more than a game of action and reaction. The offense is the action, and the defense is a reaction to that offense. And right now, the defense is not reacting very well to what the offense is doing.
Okay, so we're looking here at a 2nd down and 1. The ball resting at the Sentinel 23-yard line. This is really the first offensive showing the Campers have been able to put together thus far in the ball game. Maurer will have the first down. Did he fumble it?
Yes, he did.
And the Sentinels have it again. Holy Toledo.
I can't even see the number of the individual that made the play.
So they get the ball at their own 20-yard line on the turnover. That's the 4th turnover for the Campers so far in the first quarter.
I kept my eye on him, Chuck, and he's lined up at end, so you know who it is. Who lines up at end offensively and tackle and defensive nose guard.
Furstenberg. Then the handoff is to Eric Beal, and he'll get up over the 20 to about the 22-yard line.
They just want to run the clock out with 2 minutes to go. Fort Hill doesn't even care if they get a first down. They figure, well, knowing that the only way the Campers can go up and down the field is in short chunks, they figure, well, let's run 3 plays and punt and let the Campers go. Now the Campers are taking their timeouts.
So the Campers really have not played that well here in the first half of this ball game. They fumbled the ball 3 times in the first quarter, and 2 of those turnovers were turned into touchdowns. And then on a nice drive starting from their own 31, they cough it up at the Sentinel 20-yard line. So they did have a nice drive going, and that they went, 49 yards before they coughed it up. And they looked like they were really on a roll.
In a traditional Allegany style, you know, moving it off tackle, sweeps with the greatest amount of yardage is coming as a result of the sweeps. But again, they made that mistake. Was it their 3rd turnover? 3rd turnover or 4th turnover?
4th turnover. They had 3 in the first quarter, and now 1 here in the 4th.
Gosh, but you know, you have to go back. I don't know if the Campers made 4 turnovers all year.
I don't believe they have.
You know, but then again, the field conditions can attribute to the turnovers, and not only that, but Fort Hill, you know, they're aggressive people. When they hit you, they get the shoulder right where it's supposed to be on that white ring on that ball, and you know, if you get your shoulder in there, you're going to make them fumble, and that's exactly what they're doing.
So 2nd down, 8 for the Sentinels. Handoff is to Eric Beal, and he's corralled at the 25-yard line. Martin Kegley on the stop. Brian Johnson on the stop as the Campers call timeout once again. So they'll bring up 3rd down and 5. Well, very possibly, Jim. We've 1:43 left here in the ball game as we look at the Athey Plaza Exxon scoreboard. The Fort Hill Sentinels 14 and the Allegany Campers nothing. And remember, Athey's Exxon LaVale Service Center is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you have a problem, check with Athey's in LaVale. So 1:43 left in the first half. That's the Campers' 2nd time out. They have, I think, 1 remaining. So if they can stop the Sentinels here, they would have an opportunity to get the ball back.
But I don't believe there's enough time to march down the field.
They'd have to come up with some kind of big play.
A big play, yes, they would. And this is what worried me about this field was the big play offense of the Fort Hill, but it's not the big play offense of the Fort Hill today, Chuck. It's the big play defense.
Hey, there's a quick pitch to the tailback, and he'll not get the first down. That's Kevin Holder beyond the carry. So the Campers exercise their last timeout as a 4th down punting situation is imminent here for the Sentinels. Be 4th down and 3.
Now, you know the Campers have no timeouts left, Chuck. So when they come back on the field, they're not going to throw any play action. They have to work the sidelines, come up with a big play. I don't know if the Campers have their draws or screens in, but it would be a good call on this type of a field. So they're going to have to do whatever they're going to do. They're going to have to do it quickly. And with a inexperienced quarterback, but after 9 games, you know, he ought to be experienced enough to go up and down the field. Let's face it. He's a seasoned veteran right now.
That's right.
Allegany hasn't had success in throwing the ball. Very little this year. Brad Parks caught a few. I can remember Terry Ashby catching 1 or 2 long ones, but other than that, it's been non-existent. I don't think they have 12 completions. I don't know, Chuck. I
don't think there's too many more than that, Jim. So Troy Todd back in punt formation. Back deep for the Campers, Bennett Strickland and Todd Maurer. And Maurer is not going to handle it. Oh, my. He could have handled that ball at the 45-yard line, and he let it go, and they lose it all the way back to the 27. They lost 18 yards by not catching the ball.
Well, things have gone bad for him the whole first half, Chuck, so why should things change right now? You know, I'm afraid for the Campers to do anything, to put the ball in the air the way things are going against them. Only bad things can happen right now. I think our best bet is to get in that locker room, regroup, and make a ball game out of it the second half. And they have the type of football team and coaching staff that can do that, Chuck, believe me, because I know them both.
Okay, now see, he wound the clock here. He could have signaled for a fair catch right there, and then the clock wouldn't have started until the snap. They would have been 17 yards further up the field, but that's not the way it is. We're down to just 1 minute remaining here in the second period as the Campers line up 1st and 10.
This only can be bad news because nobody knows where they're supposed to be here.
There's a draw to Ashby, and he'll get just to the 30, maybe the 31-yard line. And there's a flag.
I was going to say, that was
right.
not necessary.
Exactly. And
that was not necessary. Now, with no timeouts left, if they can get on the ball while the penalty's being marched off, and with 47 seconds, they can take a chance now, Chuck. That's going to put them up to, what, the
45-yard line.
45-yard line, 46, 47-yard line. Now they can throw a couple upfield. But that was uncalled for. The guy was stopped. I don't know if the whistle was blown or not, but it was definitely uncalled for. That's where somebody can get hurt.
That's right. Again, we couldn't see who the number was because of the numbers being pretty well covered up. So the Campers will have it 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. We're under a minute, 47 seconds, and the clock is winding.
Now they're going to throw. The only thing is, as I mentioned, the footing is awful bad right now where they are, Chuck. And in order to throw the ball any great distance, you have to have the feet up under you. And Robinette hasn't been able to get them up under him, believe me.
So Ashby split out wide to the right. Pass over the middle, intended for Billy Park, and goes incomplete. Been open. Robinette's just not been able to get the ball to him.
Well, it's flying on him because of overstriding. Anytime you overstride, Chuck, and throw the ball, you have a tendency to put all the weight on the back foot, and anytime you have the weight on the back foot, you're going to throw a flyer. If you really overstride and put the weight on the left foot, you're going to throw it in the ground. What you have to do is get both feet up under you under these type of conditions and to throw the football.
Now we're looking now at 2nd and 10 for the Campers. Again, Terry Ashby splits out wide to the right side. Fake to the fullback, Robinette to throw, intended for Billy Park once again, and Kevin Holderby on the coverage for the Sentinels.
Boy, if Kevin could have gotten that ball just a tenth of a second earlier, Chuck, it would have been 6 for the Sentinels. The Campers have to be very careful here in what they're doing offensively. With 3rd and 10 situation and only 20 seconds to go, I don't think the Robinette can throw the ball long enough to get it in the end zone. There's no doubt about that with the conditions the way they are today. They just have to come up with a big play, a flea flicker, something where you throw a short out and flat or a screen would be a good call right now because the footing is terrible out there, and anytime the footing is bad, it's in the favor of the offense. So just a screen pass or anything.
Little waggle to the right side. He's going to be...
That's intercepted. Timeout.
Called it incomplete.
Boy, there you go again, Chuck, where only bad things can happen. And I think the Camps are going to just run the clock out right now. I think they learned a lesson right there in futility, believe me.
So they're going to rule it incomplete.
Boy, that was close, wasn't it?
Boy, it sure was. The Sentinel fans over here don't appreciate it, but...
You know, other than that 149-yard drive by the Campers, the Sentinels have held them in check, Chuck, along with penalties and 4 fumbles. And it's easy to hold somebody in check.
So there's 13 seconds left in the second quarter, and the Campers are not going to punt it.
They're going to run a sweep to
Can he get a block? Can he get a block? Oh, my Lord, he almost went. If he could have just got outside, he had the blockers right there in front of him, he could have gone. So it's first down for the Campers. I don't think they're going to be able to get a play off.
No, there's only 4 seconds.
4 seconds left.
Shouldn't
They get lined up there in a hurry, they might. They're not going to make it. There's the gun that ends the first half. The Fort Hill Sentinels 14, the Allegany Campers nothing. We'll be back for second half entertainment in just a moment. Okay, we'll start our halftime ceremonies there featuring the Fort Hill Sentinel Marching Band and Sentinelettes, who I'm sure have prepared a very fine program for your entertainment enjoyment. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Sentinel Marching Band. tremendous halftime show put on here by the Sentinel Marching Band. As we view the Queen and her court coming down the track, this concludes the first half of our halftime ceremonies, and we'll be right back after this message featuring the Allegany Camper Marching Band. Camper Marching Band, Charles F. Yarnell, Director of Bands, Devlin Layton, Band Front Coordinator, Richard T. Stevenson, Principal, Roger Flanagan, Vice Principal. 80 student musicians, 27 silks, 9 rifles, 4 majorettes, 1 feature twirler, 3 drum majorettes, 124 student performers. Today's show will feature Aztec Fire, Hey Look Me Over, Bawling the Jack, Hooray for Hollywood, Tis Allegany, and the Scream Machine. The recent awards and honors that have been awarded to the Allegany Camper Marching Band: the 1986 Frankfurt Invitational Tournament of Bands, second place Group 3, second place overall out of 16 bands. 1986 Tyrone, Pennsylvania Invitational Tournament of Bands, first place Group 3. And 1986 Richland, Pennsylvania Invitational Tournament of Bands, first place also in Group 3. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the award-winning Allegany Camper Marching Band. halftime ceremonies. This half of our halftime segment presenting the Allegany High School award-winning marching band. And we'll be back for second half kickoff in just a moment. Well, we've had an exciting ball game through the first half of this. The Sentinels leading by a score of 14-0. And both their scores coming on the result of Allegany turnovers. The Campers fumbled and was recovered at the 32-yard line by Eric Beal. Then 3 plays later, Beal was into the end zone, an 8-yard run. The kick failed. It was 6-0. That was at 10:41. Then on another fumble, recovered at the Alco 13-yard line, and a 4-yard pass play from Brode to Furstenberg, and then a 2-point conversion from Brode to Kevin Holderby, and it's 14-0. That's where it stands right now, Jim.
You know, statistically, Allegany has the upper edge, Chuck, but then on the scoreboard, the Sentinels are ahead 14-0. Statistically, the Campers have 5 first downs rushing, 2 by penalty, a total of 7 for 123 yards. Of that 123 yards, it's not Jason Keller who is the big ground gainer, but Terry Ashby. And then if we could have added that 60-some yards to that, who knows what the score of the ball game might be right now, and the statistics. Fort Hill's 3 for 7 passing with 1 first down. The big catch was won by Snyder there in the first play of the ball game. And they have 2 first downs passing, 1 rushing. Fort Hill only has 33 yards, Chuck. They're under 100 yards total yards for the ball game, but ahead 14-0. What it boils down to is the turnovers. They were able to capitalize on 2 turnovers, but the other 2 they weren't able to capitalize on. Fort Hill got their 14 points, got a little conservative, and sat on the ball. I don't believe they can sit on the ball the second half and come away with a winner, because I think the Campers still have some scoring drives in them, Chuck.
I believe they do, too. And the second half of this ball game, it's really hard to determine what is going to happen as we get ready here for the second half kickoff. But the Sentinels will be receiving the kickoff, and we'll see what Mike Calhoun has in store for us here in the second half. As Jim mentioned, statistics-wise, the Campers are out in front, but not by the scoreboard. The scoreboard reads the Fort Hill Sentinels 14 and the Campers nothing. The Campers were able to move the ball, particularly with Terry Ashby running the sweeps right and left. And a great blocking out there, particularly by Jerry Rice, leading most of those plays. And they were able to get some yardage. So we'll see what's going to happen and transpire here in the second half.
Well, you know, the Sentinels took away the Allegany threat in Jason Keller, the big fullback who's been the big ground gainer for them all year. But in taking away Jason Keller, they neglected Terry Ashby, and as a result, Terry Ashby's the one doing the damage. Now, I do believe that the Campers are going to come back this second half, Chuck, and try to establish Jason Keller again, because by establishing him would even make Terry Ashby even more of a threat. The Campers just haven't been very successful in throwing the football this year. So they're going to have to rely on what brung them here, and that's Jason Keller. So if the Campers are going to win this football, Jason Keller's going to have to be productive.
Okay, so they're going to have to work on that. So the Randy Wolford for the Allegany Campers will be kicking off. Back deep for the Sentinels, number 32, Kevin Holderby, number 21, John Snyder. They're standing near their own 10-yard line. Wolford approaches the ball, and the second half is underway, and it's going to be handled by Holderby at the 16-yard line. And he's stopped by number 60 of the Campers, Todd Mowry.
You know, if the Sentinels are going to come out in that full-house backfield truck and try to run out the clock, I don't think they're capable of it. They haven't had great success running the ball against the Campers. If the Sentinels are going to be successful today, they're going to have to come out with what brung them here, too, and that's that wide-open type of offense with the threat of throwing the ball to Mr. Snyder. Seems like it's getting awful dark overhead, doesn't it? Is it raining down there, Chuck? I don't know if it's raining or not.
It wasn't raining, but it's become very overcast. John Snyder splits out wide to the right. Brode, the quarterback. Handoff is to C.G. Wilson, the tailback, as he bounces outside and tripped up by Billy Park after about a 4 or maybe a 5-yard pickup.
You know, that's the Sentinel offense, Chuck, running off tackle. Inside the middle with Big Kegley and the 2 big tackles, they're going to have difficulty. But running off tackle, they're going to be successful because the cornerbacks are going to have to be cognizant of the fact that Mr. Snyder's out there, and they're going to have to put 2 men on him, and they're not going to be able to come up and make those hits off tackle. That's why I think Fort Hill can be more productive offensively in the formation that they're in right now.
All right, Kevin Holderby is in a tailback now, replacing C.G. Wilson. Second down and 6. Handoff is to Eric Beal. And a good tackle by Gary Henry after a pickup of about 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Going to bring up a 3rd down and a long 2. So it looks like Wilson and Holderby are alternating at tailback, bringing in the plays from Coach Mike Calhoun.
Well, that's apropos because this is what they've done all year. Each has had a great year this year, Chuck. They've been very productive from the tailback spot as a tandem back here, just alternating one another.
So 3rd down and 2. Hand off is to Wilson. He has the 1st down. He's just bouncing off of people. And he's finally corralled by Todd Maurer. But it is 1st down for the Sentinels at their own 48-yard line.
You know, now the Sentinels are in their game plan, Chuck. This has been productive for them all year. Don't be surprised now if they're going to come out and throw the ball to Snyder. You know, they could lull you to sleep running off tackle, then boom, Mr. Snyder can take it coast to coast for you.
So they line up with John Snyder. Wide out to the right side. Handoff again is to the tailback, and he gets good yardage. Up into camper territory at the Allegany 47.
You know, they're running outside of those big tackles. They're taking advantage of the smaller defensive ends and the smaller linebackers of the campers and going off tackle, which Fort Hill is an off tackle team anyway. You know, it wasn't until about the 3rd week of the season where we saw them run Mr. Beal off the middle.
So 5 yards for C.G. Wilson on the carry. 2nd down and 5. Again, Wilson. No, Broad fakes it into his belly, and a fine play by Todd Maurer. And he's going to get just very little yardage, maybe a half-yard gain.
Boy, it's a good thing, Todd. Well, it would have been a 1st down play, but, you know, that puts him in a 3rd and 5 situation. That makes it a little bit tougher for him. You know, Fort Hill, that gray matter going to have to be working there with Mr. Calhoun to decide on what he's going to call now. It's been pretty easy for him up until this point this half.
So he sends in Billy Colbert with the play, replacing Troy Todd on a 3rd and 4 from the camper 46.
We know their offense is going to be wide open now with a split end and a flanker. We don't know if he's going to throw the ball or what.
So you have Rickard one-on-one out there with John Snyder. And a little pop pass over, intended for the tight end. He couldn't hang on to it. Coverage out there by Billy Park, but it was intended for Eric Beal, and he had it and couldn't hold it. So a punting situation.
Big play for the campers. Even though Fort Hill was able to run 3.5 minutes off the clock, and they figure that's the thing they have to do now, Chuck, if they're going to win this football game. Now the campers have to assert themselves. If the campers are going to have any chance of winning this football game, barring any unfamiliar things happening, they're going to have to put together a drive right now.
So Troy Todd goes back in punt formation for the Sentinels. Back deep for the campers are Todd Maurer and Bennett Strickland. And he shanks it off the side of his foot. Strickland handles it, and there's going to be a clip against Maurer. The ball is out of bounds at the 13-yard line, 12-yard line, but he's going to call it. He's going to call a clip. Half the distance, can take it back to the 6-yard line.
Campers didn't need anything like that, Chuck, I'll tell you. You know, that means 94 yards to go in this slot. That's almost, unless there's a big play, it's kind of impossible. I'm not saying it's improbable, not impossible, but 94 yards in a field the condition it is right now is a difficult task. Plus the fact that he's up too much time. It'd take a quarter to get there, I think.
Yes, it would. So the campers need a big play somewhere along this line to get them out of the hole and get them on the scoreboard as they trail the Sentinels 14-0. And there's the call against the campers. So 1st and 10 from their own 6-yard line.
Boy, the camera crew's doing an excellent job out here this afternoon, aren't they,
Well,
Chuck?
they sure are.
They're getting all the shots in.
Yes, sir. Doing a great job. Darrell Powell and Jim Corley on camera here for the ball game here today. And the fellas, just a great job. Jason Keller, and he'll get up near the 10-yard line. The flag on the play.
That's got to be a face mask or a hold.
It's again, the campers are clapping their hands.
It's a face mask.
It is. That'll be a big one. From the 10, 11-yard line to the 25 or 26.
Yes, sir.
Get you out of a hole in a hurry.
Well, we said they needed a big play. We didn't care how they got the big play, but they needed it in order to advance the football, and that's going to help them tremendously. You know, that's going to take them out of jail. That takes them out of a fullback orientation offense into a wide open type of attack. Now they can give it to Ashby.
So they'll put it in play at the 27.
If they're going to have good success with Ashby carrying the ball, they're going to have to get over on the other hash, Chuck, or on the wrong hash for him to run that sweep.
Well, they maybe run Maurer to the wide side of the field. Keller.
Nothing there.
Nothing much. Get up to the 29, maybe a gain of 2 yards. They're really stacking up the middle on Jason. Furstenberg in there on the stop. Eric Beal, the linebacker. They've done a great job today in containing him.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, we knew going into this game that Fort Hill was as strong as Allegany up front. I think the weather has negated Allegany's offensive line. Everybody thinks a stronger offensive line is going to win out in the mud battle. I don't think it's the case. There's too many things that can go against you in the mud, and they've all happened to Allegany in those fumbles in the first half, Chuck.
That's exactly right, Jim. So second down, 8. Jason again, this time off the right side.
Boy, he's running hard.
Yes, he is. He's really fighting for every yard he's getting. But again, on the stop, Zacharias this time with a little help from Lance Steckman.
You know, let's face it, Chuck. Fort Hill has the big play offense with Steve Snyder, but it hasn't been the big play offense, I don't think, to put the 14 points on the board.
No, it's been the defense.
It's been
really
the big play in the defense that has enabled them to put the 14 points on the board. You know, take away those 2 fumbles down in Allegany's territory, and what did we say, on a 12 and 29?
Right.
This game's scoreless right now.
Exactly.
Could be an OT ball game.
So third down, 1.5 yards for the Campers. Keller fighting for it.
Boy,
it's going to be close.
You just can't tell who's who out there now, Chuck. You can tell by the mannerisms of the players because we're quite familiar with them and watching them all year. But basically, that's about it. Maybe a few of the receivers or a quarterback you can tell, but the rest of the people, they're getting covered.
Terry Zacharias on the stop from his defensive end position.
I don't care.
It's a big measurement.
That's not a big measurement because if they don't get it, they're going to go for it anyway, Chuck. I'll guarantee you that.
If they don't get it, Jim, it's going to be very, very short. There's not going to be much to get.
But they're going to go
first
for
down.
It. I mean, there was no decision there. You know, with the type of offense they have and with only a quarter and a half remaining in this ball game, Chuck, there was no decision there on what they would do. Boy, it looked like it really wants to rain out here, doesn't it?
Well, it sure does.
You can expect it any time. If you can just feel it or see it or sense it, but it seems like it's out there. I just hope it holds off until the ball game's over.
So we're down to the 6:30 mark here in the third period. There's Maurer trying to get wide. Fine defensive play.
Looks like Fort Hill made some adjustments on that sweep at halftime, haven't they?
That was Eric Beal from his linebacker position.
What I tell you how to do,
on the
Chuck,
blitz.
you have to blitz that side of that long side of that field, and they could shut that down and be in great position, and exactly what's taking place right there.
So a loss of 4, second down and 14. Now they're on the far side of the field. We'll see if they come with Ashby coming back to this side.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and the same thing has to occur on this side where Apple's going to have to get in there and make the big play. Terry has a little more speed than Mr. Meyer. Well, they're in the formation. Maybe they'll run a counter back with Ashby.
Here it comes. And he's stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. You know, guy give him a yard.
He's not that big of a back, and the type of fielder it is, and he's not going to bounce off people in there now. When he bounces, he's going to fall to the ground, Chuck, because of the conditions.
Mark McConnell, a big number 78, 6'3", 230-pound junior on the stop for the Sentinels. So third down and 12.
You know, statistically, when people look in the paper tomorrow, they're going to say, well, nothing took place out there. But, you know, Chuck, through the years, that's been the case where the statistics haven't been a dominant factor in the ball game. It's breaks.
Well, I see our cameraman, Darrell Powell, out here trying to get himself his slicker, so maybe the rain is starting to come down. Big play here. Robinette looking to pass. His arm is hit, and it's almost intercepted by Furstenberg. And it's going to bring up a fourth down.
That was a lot of pressure put on Robinette. Terry Ashby did everything he could do to try to stop him from getting in there. Chuck, he grabbed him and turned him around, but he wasn't called for holding, so he must have done it legally. That's the only thing I can figure out.
Because the officials really haven't missed too much. They've covered everything that's going on out there. So
their flags are muddy, too. You know, you don't know when one's thrown either.
The Brian Ollinger in punt formation. John Snyder back at the 35-yard line to receive it. And it's a low kick. And Snyder will handle it. He breaks a couple tackles. Randy Wolford on the stop.
Boy, he's a big player, no doubt about it, and he almost did it there, Chuck. He's the only thing that worried the Campers coaching staff, I think, was his ability to make the big play. And really, he's the one that got him in scoring position on that first series with that big catch. And it was a big-time catch. It just wasn't any high school catch. He went up and got the ball right between two people.
So right there was an indication, too, of the type of athlete he is. He just broke two tackles. As the Atheist Plaza Exxon scoreboard, the Sentinels 14 and the Campers nothing. The handoff is to C.G. Wilson, off tackle. Flag on the play down here near the 50-yard line. So we'll see momentarily what that has to offer here.
That's going to have to be encroachment or something. I don't think it's a biggie, Chuck, because of, wasn't it the...
it's illegal use of hands.
Oh, it is? Gosh.
So receive a 25% off on an oil change, filter and lube after 4 p.m. at Atheist Exxon LaVale Service Center. The Atheist scoreboard shows the Fort Hill Sentinels 14 and the Campers nothing. So an illegal use of hands penalty against the Sentinels takes them back to their own 39-yard line, bring up a second down and 18.
It seemed like the flag was thrown on the opposite side of the line on which the play was running. There is no reason for an offside lineman to be holding, Chuck.
No, not really.
Whatsoever. But that's putting them back 10 yards.
No, actually, from the spot of the foul, Jim, it's 9.
9 yards.
Yeah, we're looking at first down and 19 as they split out Snyder wide to the right side. Road back to pass. He's looking over the middle, and it's almost intercepted by 54. Troy Mowry of the Campers. That could have been a big break, Jim.
Look at the coverage by the Campers, Chuck. They had 6 people on 2 people, so that's pretty good coverage. It seems like our Faller and Mr. Snyder all over the place in any vicinity in which he might go in. They're taking a lot of people in that area, and that's what happened there. You know, the Campers have, we don't even know what the situation is if the Campers lose as far as the region is concerned, because Allegany upset Middletown last night, and there is an outside chance that Allegany could win the region, but there's still a chance that the Campers might do it. We figured Allegany picked up 17 points. They were 11 behind the Campers, and we figured the Campers needed 4 bonus points, but then again, we forgot about the Allegany's teams, and they're going to give them bonus points. So it looks like if Campers have to win the region, Chuck, but they'll still be in the playoffs.
Okay, the pitch is to Wilson, and a good defensive stand by Todd Maurer once again for the Campers with an assist from Brian Johnson. So still looking at 3rd and long.
Same type of situation that occurred in the first half, Chuck, where Fort Hill got a little rambunctious in trying to move the football in a situation where they probably should have ran out the time and maybe punted the football. I don't think you're going to see him putting the ball in the air right now, Chuck. I think what you're going to do and see him do is just run an off-tackle play and just punt the football and let Allegany play offense, because this 3rd quarter is almost coming to an end.
So 3rd and 16 for the Sentinels, their own 42-yard line. Handoff is to Eric Beal, and he'll go nowhere. Stopped by Randy Wolford. So it'll bring up a punting situation for the Sentinels. So the line of scrimmage is going to be about the 43. Campers should get the ball somewhere around their about the 30-yard line. So they're going to send back Maurer and Strickland as Troy Todd goes back into punt formation for the Sentinels.
You know, he's punted exceptionally well this afternoon in his slop, Chuck.
He's punted good all year. He's got a pretty good leg.
But their center's done a great job in getting the ball back to him.
Another nice kick.
Yes, it is.
Real nice kick. He sends Maurer back inside the 10.
That's disaster, Maurer. That's disaster. To do something like that is disaster.
Now they got it back.
Well, I'll tell you.
Woo, mercy sakes alive. So with the exchange of possession here, we're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be right back after this message.
Excuse me.
Okay, so no gain on the play as Ashby tried to go wide, so we're looking at 2nd down and 10.
Steckman had the outside leverage, and Eric Bill had the inside leverage. So when you talk about football talk, you talk about leverage, and if you get it from the inside and outside, you're doing your job, Chuck.
It's kind of tough to gain anything.
Well, that's
that.
like getting in a vice.
All right. So 2nd down and 10. Robinette looking to pass.
He's going to be
And he's
nailed.
going to be nailed, and we got a flag on the play down here. I don't know what it's for. It might be some kind of defensive holding penalty against the Sentinels. I believe that's what it is.
Well, they'll decline that penalty. That's Steve Michaels.
No, it's going to be against the Sentinels,
Oh, it is.
defensive holding.
Again, the ball wasn't thrown. I don't quite understand that if the ball's not in the air.
I don't either, but that's the call.
Doesn't the ball have to be in the air?
I thought it did.
Well, I mean, if somebody's grabbing the receivers on the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage, you can call defensive holding. Believe me, you can call defensive holding on a running play.
Right. You can hold them up. So they're going to call it it's a 5-yard penalty.
Well, that's not defensive holding then.
That's what he's signifying.
Legal procedure. I don't know.
No, he gave the holding signal, but it's only 5 yards. It says bring up 2nd down. Jason trying to get somewhere and really can't make up a whole lot of yardage.
It's going to be close to that first down, Chuck. What do you do? Still 3rd down, right? After the penalty.
Yes, they're going to be 3rd down and short. As the AT Plaza Exxon has 3 ASC certified technicians providing complete mechanical services for your car, as they are presenting the AT Exxon scoreboard here, the Fort Hill Sentinels 14 and the Allegany Campers nothing, as we get a measurement here for the first down.
Looks about a yard short.
And it's a little short. So we're going to have a 3rd down play coming, and about 6 to 8 inches to go for a first down.
We can beat the referee too.
So the referee, David Pulaski, winds the clock. We're down to 50 seconds remaining in the 3rd period.
You know, the Campers, or not the Campers, but the Sentinels could win the CBL championship and the city championship. And this is the first time they've won the city championship outright since 1979, Chuck.
Is that right? Yeah, quarterback keeper by Robinette. So we're going to get an official's timeout here till we get this checked out. They are motioning it first down.
Campers still have a long way to go, Chuck. They have roughly about 82 yards to go, and as I mentioned, it's going to have to take a big play.
Yeah, as we see the AT Plaza Exxon scoreboard, the Fort Hill Sentinels 14, the Campers nothing, and the scoreboard is brought to you by AT Plaza Exxon with 24-hour service and mechanical repairs and estate inspections from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 1st and 10 for the Campers. We're running down here 10 seconds and counting here in the 3rd period. As Maurer goes in motion, the pitch is to Maurer trying to get outside. And he gets up near the 24-yard line. As the 3rd quarter comes to an end, the Fort Hill Sentinels 14, the Allegany Campers nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. For 2nd down, 4 yards to go as we begin the 4th quarter. Ashby. Oh, almost broke it. Almost broke it. He gets out to the 30-yard line. Somebody grabbed a hold of his ankle. If he could have got free from that, it could have been all over.
I think Fort Hill's underestimating Ashby's speed, Chuck. That was, made aware. Well, we became aware of that when he made that long run on the sweep. It seemed like when they was getting their leverage that they were just running behind him rather than trying to seal him off. He's a little quicker than they give him credit for, I think.
The rain's starting to fall here. Umbrellas popping up all over the stadium. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line for the Campers. Ashby, as he cuts back inside, loses his footing. Gets to about the 32-yard line.
Fort Hill has seemed to defense that play pretty well in the 2nd half, Chuck. Allegany hasn't had any success with it at all. It just seems like that Fort Hill's got their number right now. Offensively, Allegany just hasn't been able to put anything together other than that 140-some yard drive. But Fort Hill hasn't been able to put anything together either, Chuck. The defenses have become the dominant factor in this ball game, and going into the ball game, we figured that.
Exactly right.
You know, we figured 14 points would be scored, right?
Well, that's right. We figured it'd be a combined, maybe 14.
And the mistakes gave Fort Hill the 14, so.
There's the pitch to Maurer, trying to get outside, and gets up over the 35 to the 38-yard line. Bring up a 3rd down and 2. They can't get it at 3 or 4 yards at a pop.
No.
Jim, there's just not enough time left.
There's only 10 minutes left in the ball game. And there's nothing more that the coaches over there can do. They only have certain things they can do, and they know the passing game is not their forte this year. Maybe next year it might be with the year's experience under Robinette's belt. But right now, it's not their forte.
So 3rd down, 2 yards to go. Need a big play. They need a score on the board. So Gary Henry checks into the lineup, replacing Terry Ashby. The handoff is to Keller. He'll have the 1st down out over the 40-yard line. But the clock is ticking down, 10 minutes and 15 seconds, and you got to get more than 3 or 4 yards at a crack.
You know, it's very difficult, Chuck, to go 94 yards or 95 yards on a drive field with a sustained drive, let alone on a field the condition that this one's in. So we can just, the Campers are just going to have to do what they can do and hope for hope to score, then hope for a mistake on Fort Hill's part. It seems like is what they need right now. They need a score and a mistake or a long run.
Robinette looking to pass and throws incomplete. Intended it for Todd Maurer out near the 45-yard line. So 2nd down and 10. Now they go away from that 6-man front again. Now it brings Snyder in on a 2nd and 10.
That 6-2's been very good to him, Chuck, all day, you know, in his running situation.
So the Athey Plaza Exxon scoreboard is brought to you by Athey's Plaza Exxon, offering the Permashine Simon I Special Protective Shield for your car at $29.90. As the scoreboard shows, the Fort Hill Sentinels 14 and the Allegany Campers nothing. Oh, we got movement, and now we're going to be looking at 2nd down and 15.
That they don't need, Chuck.
No, they certainly don't.
That definitely puts them in a passing situation.
So if this ball game continues in the manner of which it has thus far for 3 quarters plus, we could be looking at a possibility of having both of these teams in the playoffs, but we really won't know that until Monday.
You know, this is the only time that Allegany, if Allegany doesn't score, it's only 2nd time in 10 years that Allegany's been shut out, Chuck. Bishop Walsh did it in 1978, 16-0. Or no, they didn't. It was Gary Noose was head coach. It had to be maybe 82, 16-0, and then right now 14-0 by Fort Hill.
2nd and 15. Little swing pass out to Ashby, and he's going nowhere. Steve Hess on the defensive play for the Sentinels. Loss of about 5 yards again.
They're trying a controlled passing game, and it's not working either with the 3- and 4-yard cuts or the flare to the back. You know, Allegany is just in a precarious position right now. They just can't seem to muster up anything to get the ball upfield in the end zone, Chuck. And, you know, the longer it takes, the better it is for Fort Hill, because they're 2 touchdowns ahead right now, 14-0 with only 9 minutes to go.
So 3rd down and 20. Robinette back to pass, trying to set up a screen to Ashby, and he can't get anywhere. I believe that's McConnell, number 78, on the stop. And it's back to the 26-yard line. Another loss on the play.
Seems like the Sentinels are coming alive here defensively,
Well, they sure are. And I'll tell you right now, they're going to send back Mr. Excitement, John Snyder, to receive his kick. And they're going to get excellent field position. The line of scrimmage right now is the 25-yard line. So Snyder will be somewhere near his own 45 or midfield to receive it.
You think, you know what it looks like, Chuck? It looks like that Fort Hill wins this game, and if they continue to do so,
now he's his own 40. They got the wall, trying to set up the wall.
But if they do,
they don't get him, or they do get him.
If things stay the way they are, Chuck, you know who Fort Hill will have to play in the playoffs?
Magruder.
Magruder.
Well, they said all year they wanted to play him again. They may get the opportunity. We got a flag down on the play over at the 30-yard line.
Yes, but I don't think they want to play down in Montgomery County.
No, I don't think they do either. I think it's against the Campers.
What do you do, make them do a repunt it, or I don't know. I think I make them repunt it.
Well, it's no, it's not against the. What's going on? He's pointing this way. Now he's pointing back this way.
Clip. Has to be a clip. It's a 15-yard penalty from the 40 to the third 25.
Yeah, he's got a lot of hands going first one way and then the other. I haven't seen a signal yet. It's a dead ball foul, whatever it is, because they had the stick set up for the first down. So it's going to be 1st and 25, whatever the call is.
So it's 1st and 25 then, Chuck? Is this
Dead ball, personal foul. So it was after the play. So they do get the first down, keep the ball, but it's 1st and 25.
Fort Hill doesn't want to do anything crazy here, Chuck. They don't want to put the ball in the air. I'll be honest with you, even with 25 to go, run the ball, punt it, hold them, then get back on offense again. You don't want to make a mistake right now. A mistake is all Allegany needs to get back in this ball game.
So it's 1st and 25 from their own 25. Handoff is to Wilson, breaks off tackle, and Sean Ricker on the stop. But Wilson gets up to the 34-yard line. A 9-yard pickup.
Mike Calhoun's been in the coaching profession long enough to know what he has to do also, Chuck. You know, he's not going to take any chances here. Hey, he can look at that scoreboard and see 7 minutes remaining, and I have a 14-point lead. He doesn't want to stop that clock. He just wants to keep it going and come out with his first city championship in his first year. And reading in a paper the other day, very few coaches have won this game in their first year, and I know I wasn't successful at it.
Now there's a handoff to Beal, the fullback, and he just gets very short yardage. Stacked up by the center of the camper line, number 54, Mowry, Troy Mowry on the stop. Now, Mike's to be congratulated. He's had a fine season. He lost 2 tough football games. He's done a great job, and I think will continue to do a great job here at Fort Hill.
Well, you know, I'd like to thank him for patting me on the back, but he said, Jim, we need consistency like you had at Allegany and like they have right now. And once Fort Hill gets that consistency, they'll be a winner just like Allegany, and I believe him. You know, he's got everything in perspective.
So again, Mowry on the stop, a flag, couple of flags on the play.
That's not going to give him a first down, but I'll guarantee it's going to be a yard short. It's going to give Fort Hill a chance to think about it, Chuck, because that's going to be a dead ball foul. Personal foul, dead ball foul. Against Fort Hill?
No, it's against the Camper.
Well, I thought it was. It's going to put him, what, a yard short?
Let's see where. No, it's going to give him
a first down.
Into Camper territory.
Now, that's the straw that broke. I don't know if that's the straw that broke the camel's back, but I
has to be close.
It has to be close to it because, you know, it's putting them in jail right now, Chuck. I think their back was broken in that first quarter by giving them those 2 quick touchdowns on 2 turnovers. But that has taken any zest or fight out of the Campers right now. I think the Campers...
well, you really have to admire their moxie, though, Jim. You know, they got down quickly because of their own mistakes. But they've battled Fort Hill to a standstill since then.
Yes, they have. You know, nobody's been impressive offensively, but then again, the defenses have lived up to all expectations.
Wilson.
I wouldn't be surprised, Chuck, if the Sentinels don't put together a scoring drive here, because I think the Campers are pretty well down right now. They're down and out right now.
So the carry is to the 44, a pickup of 4 yards, bring up 2nd down and 6. As the clock is winding down, we're under 6 minutes to play in this football game.
Well, we really don't know if we're going on the road next week or not to do any telecast, Chuck. I guess we have to wait to see which one's going to be the closest one, huh?
Right, see where they're going to be playing. We are planning to cover some of the playoff games, but we'll just have to wait and see. And there's C.G. Wilson once again carrying off tackle.
Can we pull rank? Do we have seniority in this or
I don't
what?
know.
I mean, I'm a new member to this broadcasting fraternity,
I
so
think
you've been around a long time, so you can pull rank down there.
I think wherever we go, we'll probably cover the ball game. So 3rd down and 1 as we're down to the 5:15 mark. Getting right down to the nitty-gritty as the Fort Hill band cranks it up. Wilson, first down. Inside the 25-yard line. John Maurer on the stop for the Campers, but the Sentinels are really alive.
See what I'm talking about the fight out of the dog right now, Chuck? The fight's not in the dog anymore, and you can understand why. You gave it your all. Hey, Campers, you had a great season. My hat's off to Coach Gilmore, his offensive coordinator Toby Eric, defensive coordinator Dave Merrill, Tim Kane, Randy Stewart, Coach Keller, and the whole staff and everybody involved over there.
Done a great job once again. I got a flag down for an encroachment call. We'll see who it goes against. It's against the Campers, so one more mistake.
It's going to be mistake after mistake. And you Camper fans now, don't let your Campers down. Get behind them next week. Follow them wherever they go and give them the support. And I do believe that they do have a good enough team to maybe bring back a championship for us up here, Chuck.
I believe they do, too. So the Athey Exxon Plaza scoreboard. Remember, Athey's Exxon Service Center is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As we check the scoreboard, the Sentinels 14 and the Campers nothing. And the Campers are going to take a timeout, and we'll take a timeout for this commercial break. We'll be right back in just a moment. I will say one thing for the Fort Hill faithful. They really do support their ball teams. They really give them all the support they need. And Camper fans, you can be proud of your football team also. Just give them all the support they need. They're a good football team and a great bunch of kids. First down and 5. Field, the fullback, just burrowing inside the 15-yard line for the first down. Stopped by Gary Henry, but the Sentinels really on the move.
You know, Coach Gilmore's standing over there right now, and I know what's going through his mind, Chuck, because I've been there before. And he's thinking, what can I tell my team so their dappers won't be down, because we got to come back and practice on Monday and get ready for a state playoff.
Exactly. Forget about this when it's over. You know, when this game is over, it's over. There's nothing else you can do about it. C.G. Wilson down to the 12-yard line.
You know, boys, just get ready for next week and come back, make a comeback. I just hope that Allegany can muster up enough points to play here next week. I'd love to stay right here, Chuck. I don't like the road shows now. I like the home show. I'd love to see that Fort Hill Magruder game, but that's the way it works out, too. It's either going to be Magruder or Overly for Fort Hill. We do know that.
So we're not sure who the Campers will be playing. Second down, 9. Wilson. Again, he's stacked up by the Campers. Gary Henry on the stop, along with Maury. And down on the bottom of the pile is Brian Johnson.
You know, the fight might have gone out of the dog here, Chuck, but I'll tell you what, don't seem to be able to get in the dog house.
That's right.
You know, they're still in there fighting and clawing and still have pride. You know, they still have a lot of pride.
Third down, 7. As Snyder splits out wide to the right side. Wilson, and he's stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Again, Gary Henry on the stop for the Campers.
Well, I look for a pop pass to a tight end over the middle, Chuck. A nice fullback ride to Bill, and it's pouring down the rain out there. I mean, it's coming down cats and dogs, believe me, people.
Well, one of the fellas that been able to catch that popper over the middle is Troy Todd. He checks into the lineup. The Sentinels come out at 4th down. 6 yards to go for a first down. 9 yards for a touchdown. And the handoff is to the tailback, and look at him drive. Holy Toledo, what a play.
He's got the first down, Chuck.
C.G. Wilson on the carry, gets down to the 1-yard line. Great blocking by the Sentinel interior line as Fort Hill down to the Allegany 1. 2 minutes remaining in this ball game. The Sentinels really looking to lock it away.
Well, a lot of the fans are leaving the stadium now, but I don't see any red and white leaving. They're just waiting to the bitter end, Chuck, because, let's face it, they've only won one out of the last 6 years. This is going to make 2, so...
There's Eric Beal in for the touchdown.
That was probably the longest drive of the afternoon for a touchdown, Chuck. That drive started what?
25-yard
line.
And they had a 1st and 25 to start the series.
Well, the 15-yard penalty hurt the Campers. But a lot of character there. Fort Hill didn't try to put the ball in the air. They did what they had to do. Mike knows what he has to do. Called a beautiful game today. Kept everything in perspective. They did a fine job. So we have to congratulate Mike Calhoun, D. Callball, Barry Latimer,
and then
Steve Lewis.
Steve Lewis. They've done a great job preparing this team. So Vince Lay to attempt the extra point. The kick is up, and it's good. So at the 1:43 mark of the 4th period, the Sentinels on a 75-yard drive just put this ball game away. And it is 21-0, and the rain is pouring down, but I don't know anybody that's dressed in red and white that really cares. So the AC Plaza Exxon scoreboard, Fort Hill Sentinels 21, the Allegany Campers nothing, and receive 25% off an oil change, filter and lube after 4 p.m. at AC's LaVale Exxon Service Center.
I like your field defensively.
So the Sentinels hoping for a playoff berth in the state playoff. Leading the Campers 21-0. Boy, what a hit down at the 35-yard line. I mean, this Sentinel team is really pumped up right now. And we have an injured player down on the field, I believe. Now he's getting up.
Well, we seem to have a little confusion here in the press box, Chuck, but we're being interrupted on these player of the game votes, and we're trying to get our choices in order so that they can be gathered, and I hope they determine who it is before we go off the air.
So the Campers at their own 35-yard line have really not had the better end of this situation from the outset today. But Camper fans, whatever you do, don't be disenchanted with this ball club. We're still looking at a playoff situation. We still have a chance to become a state champion, as one of the Sentinels is being helped off the field. And I really can't make out his number.
If we were down on the field, I don't know if we could make out his number.
Probably not. So, 1st and 10 for the Campers from their own 35-yard line. As the rain pours down, Ashby trying to swing outside, getting some good blocking, gets up to the 40-yard line.
Boy, they've done an exceptional job this half in stopping that play, Chuck. Allegany, you know, they took away the fullback the first half, and then they've gone to the halfback sweep. But Fort Hill, and they had success, but Fort Hill come out in halftime, adjusted, and Allegany can't go anywhere.
No, they can't, and Ashby really is the only one that's been able to make any yardage whatsoever.
Only a sophomore for the Campers, so he'll play in this game on 2 other occasions.
So a gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. Boy, the rain is really coming down now. Robinette trying to fail. He finds a little opening, runs with it, and gets the 1st down across midfield into Sentinel territory at the 49-yard line. a first down. Let that little guy fight it. There's another flag on the play down to the 35-yard line. And it looks like Holder B and somebody else are into a little bit of a scuffle over there.
Well,
now it looks like a big scuffle.
We don't need this right now. You know, the game has been played. There have been a lot of penalties, but I don't know what the penalty is, Chuck. The only thing I could possibly think of is face mask on a tackle. There's going to be 2 flags. There's going to be a 15-yarder for face mask, and I think there's going to be a 15-yard on sportsmanlike conduct, which could put the ball on what?
Well, let's see. There's a 36. Take 15 to the 21 and half the distance to the 11.
Let's see if we're going to throw the unsportsmanlike. I don't know if we're going to throw. I saw a flag coming in later, and I don't know if that was the. I don't know if we're going to go unsportsmanlike.
Now they're just going to go the 1 penalty, take it into the 21-yard line.
Well, they broke up pretty rapidly. You know, it's a shame. You don't want to mar a football game. I'd love to see the Campers score, but what a good note to get started on Monday. You know you lost the ball game, but you know that you contributed to your loss by many offensive mistakes.
All right, so the offensive player of the game is C.G. Wilson, and the defensive player is Steve Hess of the Fort Hill Sentinels. Maurer bouncing outside. Finally run down inside the 10-yard line. As the gun sounds, the ball game is over. The Fort Hill Sentinels 21 and the Allegany Campers nothing, and we'll be back in just a moment. Going on here on the press box side of the field as the Fort Hill Sentinels defeat the Allegany Campers 21-0, and all they can hope for now, Jim, is that all the points and everything go right so they can get into the playoffs.
Well, we do know that both teams are going to be playing in the playoffs. Now, let's put things in perspective. With Fort Hill's win, Fort Hill's not in yet. If Chopticon won last night, there's still a chance that Chopticon might represent the district. Fort Hill is the 9th-rated team, Chuck. There are no guarantees, people, so don't think that this win guarantees it. Pick up your paper tomorrow morning or call the sports department later this evening, and you might find out if Fort Hill has made it or not. But chances are, if they did make it, they're going to play that fine Magruder football team that defeated them earlier, or an overlead team from the Baltimore area. They have a chance to play either the first or second place team because they can either be 7th, 8th, or might not make it. On the other hand, we don't have any idea who the Campers could possibly play because we don't even know what the point system looks like. Now, I don't know if they're still in a fight for the region or not, Chuck. I tried to figure it out at halftime, and the way it looks right now, Allegany might have won the region Class B. So we just have to wait and read the paper tomorrow to find out who's playing where and what and when and how. So, you know, but other than that, Chuck, it wasn't a classic football game. It wasn't a good football game. It was a defensive football game where Allegany's mistakes came back to haunt them. They came back, and they haunted the Campers because they gave them 2 quick drives, but the Sentinels were able to put together a 75-yard drive at the end of the ball game. It wasn't beautiful, but it was exciting, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, I tell you, it really is exciting. Now, this is almost a turnaround. Last year, I think, what was
24-0.
24-0 in favor of the Campers. So this year, the Sentinels emerged victorious. Our congratulations to Mike Calhoun and his staff for putting together a fine game plan and coming up with an 8-2 season. Congratulations also to Jack Gilmore and his staff for another outstanding job with the Allegany Campers. They also wind up at 8-2.
You know, Chuck, I'd just like to add this before we go off the air, and I want to thank Cumberland. I don't know if I'm ever going to get an opportunity to do this again, but I want to thank Cumberland for the opportunity of letting something like this take place. You know, I just think it's a spectacle, and I think we just ought to keep it and keep supporting it. It's just something that's beautiful, and it's good for the community.
Oh, it certainly is. It just, you know, for 1 week, there's maybe a lot of animosity between the south end and the west side and the north end and whatever, you know, but it's great for the city itself. It really brings everybody together, and it's just a great football week. So we'd like to thank all of our fine sponsors who have made this game possible, along with the coaches and staffs associated with the schools. Always check Channel 14, your time and temperature channel, for any weekly air time schedules of the game. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to be bringing you the further action between the Fort Hill Sentinels and the Allegany Campers as they get into the playoffs on their march to College Park. So I'd like to thank Natalie Hill, our director, Jim Corley, and Daryl Power, our cameraman. Fellas and Natalie, you guys just did a great job for us all year. So let's just hope that we can continue here for the next week or so. And Jim Rafosco, it has been an extreme pleasure to work with you so far this year. Let's hope we can do it for a couple more weeks.
Oh, I'd love it, Chuck. I'll tell you. If it's a road show, if we have to go, that's fine. But I'd love to do it till up to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
For both of them, if that's possible.
For both of them. We certainly wish both of them well. So, again, our final score has been the Fort Hill Sentinels 21, the Allegany Campers nothing. This is Chuck Lehman saying so long from Greenway Avenue Stadium for Channel 8 Sports. And the Sentinels have it. Well, you talked about a big break early. Got a pass looking for Snyder. And he's got it. It's to Eric Field. He's in for the score.
There's no doubt about it. Fort Hill is just going crazy.
A fumble. The Sentinels are motioning like they have the ball, and they do.
You know, Fort Hill's saying, come right at us, come at us. Fort Calhoun to go right back at Snyder.
Fumbled again. Are not able to keep a hold of it, and number 74, Steve Michael, comes up with the ball. The pass, the man is wide open, and it's complete to Six Furstenberg. For Holderby, and he's got it. There's a flag on the play. Down, did he fumble it?
Yes, he did.
And the Sentinels have it again. In for the touchdown. Holly runs down inside the 10-yard line. As the gun sounds, the ball game is over. The Fort Hill Sentinels 21 and the Allegany Campers nothing.